this point, no.
So all the feedback we would want.
So again, it's only really items 1 through 3, I believe, are,
And those are really fun,
you know,
but they're not really, again, they're not.
they're alternative revenue
Okay,
sources,
so
yes,
then
you're
the only
right.
revenue we really have to talk about.
They're not lowering the
Diversification.
cost to.
What about a wheel tax?
the
That's the
household.
only, could we implement that in 2019?
I would have to look into how long that process would take, but that's potentially within the realm of possibility if we can get it onto.
Are
I'm
there-
pretty sure we'd have to do a referendum, so probably no. Right?
Are there any, yeah, you have to
Too
referendum.
late.
So, okay, so did you have, does anyone have any other revenues they wanna talk about, otherwise?
Just,
Mine was
just
to
as,
sell the
just,
parking
just
permits
as
for the
one,
daytime.
just as
We
a moment,
haven't hold on, we haven't made that parking decision, so how can we just,
Well,
we can't put that
this
as
is
a
just in the
revenue.
metro lot. This is just daytime parking in the vacant
Oh,
spaces.
in that one, okay.
Yeah, and the light horse, those are two, we have spots there too.
Was there a reason why it wasn't on the list? Was it, is that in
Mark
the-
answered it in my questions.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and, I don't know if you guys chatted, but the answer was, like, we'd have to amend the development agreement. Yeah, I think I have it, I can read it to you, but,
Maybe Mark would remember his memo.
yeah, go ahead, I have, yeah.
it was my recollection, and again, I can be corrected if I'm incorrect, that the agreement in the metro market was public parking subject to 2-hour parking restrictions.
Yep.
So, changing that developer's agreement would likely include some legal costs, and then that would have to be recovered through parking fees. So, again, very reasonable concept. I would like to make movement on that before you finish the budget, before we change the budget. And then, of course, I would just add that since that's a parking lot agreement with the parking utility, that would not provide general fund tax relief, it would be a parking utility revenue.
Well,
So-
but we can utilize parking utility, if we decided to take money out, like you were saying, and put it into the general fund, like charge more, I can't remember what you were saying, but the thing that's on here about parking switch, taking something out of the parking utility, if we did that, that helps the operating budget, and this would be more income to the parking utility to be able to do that. We've also lent to our water utility, to our utilities money out of the parking utility. I'm throwing it out there because I think it does help even though it's in a segregated fund. And I would, it doesn't have to be today, but maybe Bart can provide us an update on thoughts about daytime parking for employees. I just feel like it's much easier, it's in our control than some of the other things on here. And yeah,
Do we have
do we have any other revenue?
ideas?
Actually, like a logistical question, who is managing the list? Putting the
I am.
list?
Mark
Okay.
writes it down.
Thank you.
Don't worry.
I
know, I have the same questions when I was like, where's that
I know,
list?
well, your first time, like, if you don't realize that it has to go on the list, then you get to the end, and you're like, why can't we talk, because it's not on the
Right,
list.
right, well, I just wanna know where's the list.
I wanted to make sure
Who
you
owns
know,
it?
okay.
I-
Any other revenue
I did.
ideas?
Yeah,
Go
on
ahead.
fines, you projected some increase in fines. Do we include any projection of collections? Did we adjust, we're gonna adjust that number a little bit?
58,000 increased.
Annual revenues were projected both for court fines and parking fines, and again, this was in the summary materials,
Right,
to increase 10% over current year projected values due to the increased efforts.
50.
Budgeting windfall revenues from
Mm.
store collections
okay.
is not a recommended practice, so it's not in the budget. As those occur, obviously we record them, and that will create residual funds to offset any cost overruns, or will drop to the fund balance at the end of the year.
Okay.
So
Wasn't there a whole
when
bunch
you-
of fines that we increased when we did the fee schedule, didn't we increase a bunch of fees?
Nothing of significance.
But we did for engineering, I see there's an expense in your overview of 10,000, and I thought we increased the fee to cover the engineering expenses that we use them for, so why do we have a new expense?
I don't believe that was in the planning division, I think it was in public works to cover some general engineering costs that come up from time to time.
Okay.
But you're right, there's no budget line item for engineering expenses or plan reviews in planning. And if they do occur, then the revenues would be offset, so it'd be like
Right.
net zero.
Right.
Because we just can't anticipate what level that might come to.
And I'd like to,
Mhm.
move on to So, because we only have 35 minutes left and I do wanna talk about capital, and we have a lot of suggestions on service levels, so.
Can I just to clarify, I didn't hear the answer, so Mike, maybe you can clarify for me. When you asked about the fines going up, I just don't wanna lose it and have to come back to it. It was about 58,000. Is that not the windfalls? That's just what we adopted or what we gave direction on about
What are you referring
collections?
to, trustee Maher?
Fines went from projected 608 to 617.
Well, you'd have to get into the detailed line
Into-
items,
yeah,
that's a little
I
too
think
aggregate,
it's
but,
fine,
But that includes that
but part of that is police and
Extra
court fines
collection?
going up.
Okay.
fines going up or the collection that
Co-
we're,
Increase.
Revenues going up,
He said
based on
collections,
collection
does-
activities.
okay, so those
I
ideas that
thought
we
you just
had-
said you don't budget for collections.
Current year collections increases we budget for, not historical.
but using
Not that-
those increased.
Oh, you're not
Two,
talking,
three,
you're not
five-year-old
talking
stuff.
collections,
Or is that
okay,
in
all right.
I'm just saying-
When you said the word collections, I thought you were
Yes, I
talking
know,
about
I'm-
back on the list.
No, I appreciate that, I'm sorry.
Okay. Should we move on to service levels?
Sure.
Like I said, I think we should wait, we've already talked about, COLA and merit. We have marketing and communications, 5,000 in the village manager budget. Is that the Shorewood, no, that's not the Shorewood today. What is that exactly?
That's
Where are you
that.
looking?
Is that in the budget or the?
Tyler, I think you're most familiar with that in the village manager's budget.
So remember, if you remember at the end when we depleted the marketing
Yeah,
fund budget, we had 5,000 that we carried over just in case there were, some kind of project or whatnot. So that's we would propose to just eliminate that entirely. And then if the advisory committee wants to propose a project, that they would make a budget request in a future budget for that specific project.
Freestanding.
Yeah.
so there's not really any actual expense related to it, it was just added, put in the budget
Yeah.
last year, okay.
Right, so this year we've been using that for some ghost train marketing and some projects related to that, but for future years, I mean, that's something that we could probably move on from.
That sounds good to me.
Do we have that $20,000 reserve anyways for marketing? And remember that line item for our general fund reserve?
Mark can address that.
Yeah, that should be detailed somewhere in the
It
budget
is, isn't it?
documents, but yes, there's
So
a
we can do
reserve.
that.
Let's talk
Reserve
about
for
that,
marketing.
can we talk about that when we talk
Yeah,
about marketing?
but there was a
Okay.
10,000 increase in, for village board, there was 10,000 increase for village board studies that may come up that wasn't in there last year, so I just would like to know why.
Is that in here, or is that?
We can do it as a separate question.
Yeah.
Stay on
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
But it's in the overview.
Trustee
legal
Amento?
fees by 15, yeah, I'm trying to move.
I know, just as a general discussion point though, it would be staff's recommendation that all the expenditure service level options are on the wrap-up list as a matter of protocol. Certainly go through and
Well, I
discuss
think
them as you'd like, or if you
I'd
had
like to
some
have
other
general
idea.
discussion if there's something nobody wants and we don't have to put it on.
Thank you.
Or you could make a note for that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do it that way too.
Okay, village attorney, not attend village board or plan commission meetings, I'm not in favor of that. Would you?
It seems like we all
I was gonna say, conceptually, this sounds like a good idea, but I know that if you have a lawyer in the room and 2 hours of dedicated lawyer time, you might actually get more done than if you have to pull out questions, email the lawyer, have the lawyer work on it. You might actually end up creating a more inefficient system if you pull it
Right.
out.
Are we RFPing that contract this year?
Yeah.
For, right, wasn't it
Yeah.
2019?
It's just, I don't know how many charges us too.
So,
I know, are we going in order?
Ish.
Ish.
So we're at 5.
We're at 5,
Right.
all right, let's keep going.
I'm still questioning on the.
I know, I'm sorry, I
It's
just
okay.
wanted to make sure I was looking at the right thing.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
Okay, so at some point, I totally agree with, Wesley, Commissioner Wesley, whatever, trustee Wesley, Warren, where it is. Sorry, it's not even late yet. But anyways, I do think there's such value, but I also think at some point there is a tipping point of, when we go to contract out, I mean, can we get a lawyer who can be here all the time for that price? Not this year, but I'm just saying, just, I'd like to have that on some sort of list for future.
Like
Not that I don't,
as a
I love our
full-time
attorney.
employee.
I'm just saying if we're spending 90 to 100,000 and we're thinking of, you know,
Attorney, yeah.
the service is great, we only get a couple hours, and so maybe it would make sense to get a less, anyways, on staff.
The vast majority of that time is at his office, not necessarily at board meetings, but
Right.
a fraction of that time, or a portion of that time,
I'm just concerned with the attorney line.
brainstorming.
Can I
That's all
just
we're
say,
doing.
we have 50,000 in coverage for attorney fees associated with the lawsuit we're going into, so I know we haven't spoken about it, but I am concerned that that might need to go up compared to what the other
What
municipalities are
lawsuit,
spending.
the assessment one?
Mhm.
So for right now, I'm hearing consensus that maybe this is one that you'd like to not have reflected on the list.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
But
move on.
I would I think we might need more, is what I'm saying. Unless there's some other fund we're gonna pull it from.
Would you
Well,
like
then
to add
maybe we can
increase
revisit
legal
that at a
fees to
future
the
point.
list?
So can you just put that on the list, is all I'm saying, after
Right.
we meet, we can discuss again.
Okay, planning, we're gonna talk about, later in the meeting, lifeguards at Atwater Beach, we are RFPing that, correct?
Correct.
I mean, I think that's been a really popular service, and it's a big part of the public safety, I don't see reducing that, yes. Go ahead, Allison.
So Tyler and I just had a chat about that, if when we RFP it, there was a question originally, how we were paying, were we paying by the hour, so if there was 3 lifeguards and we were getting charged for 3 lifeguards, but if they didn't need 3 and it went to 2, the next contract could be RFP'd so that it is by actual hours rather than just chunks of money, cause if they get to save the money,
Well, we'll have a chance to review that.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
I
Jessica.
just was curious,
It might go
last
down.
year was a Milwaukee County issue. Are we still facing the same issue with Milwaukee County?
No,
This
because we
year?
have control over it, because we were private.
No, but would
They
they
would.
be able to do it again? I kinda doubt it, but
Okay.
that's a worthwhile.
Right,
We
I
would
mean-
send them the proposal or the RP in case they wanna submit a proposal, but
Okay.
at this time, I would not expect the county to submit.
Okay.
It would be great if they could, even just for cost comparison,
I would love that as well.
right? So even
If
if
you don't have many to
Right,
no,
no,
same
even
choices.
if we had that
Right, we
knowledge
may
with
have the
them.
same issue, but
Yeah.
at least you
So,
can.
so the next page is all DPW, I don't wanna go through them one, you know, if somebody has one that they like, let's,
I have one.
I mean, the bare pavement practices for winter maintenance, I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Yeah, that was my
I
question.
just asked that today.
Yes,
Leanne,
that was-
yeah.
What did she
What-
say?
Who, me?
Sure.
Where,
If
oh, I didn't
that-
see you there.
Oh, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that basically getting down to the bare pavement so that the snow is totally gone, it's totally melted, there's chemical requirement in multiple passes and a lot of time to get to actual bare pavement versus
On the roads.
on the roads versus like some snow that is still drivable.
Do other communities that we know, do that practice? Cause it sounds like it'd be using less
Milwaukee.
salt.
No,
That's
It's
why
just
you
whether-
no,
have to do
Milwaukee,
it, you go out,
yeah.
through
Yep.
a municipal line, boundary, you'll notice like a change in
Yeah.
the conditions of the
So I
road.
did hear at our public meeting, maybe we'll hear more tonight, but that there are residents out there and that want that practice.
Well, it's less salt. which
Right,
is-
for environmental reasons.
I think the, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that I think for safety reasons and for drivability reasons, when you drive into Shorewood and there's a difference, and then you drive out of Shorewood and there's a difference, it makes, I've heard from other residents that, it makes you question what's happening, why are their roads clear and ours are not? So, I mean, to me, I think that that's sort of an expectation. That
Bare
they're just
pavement is
clear.
an expectation.
The getting to the bare pavement is
Yeah.
sort of that expectation.
A desired expectation, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Or-
that's the bar.
Yeah,
But I think all the levels of service that we have today are at that bar.
definitely.
I think we're just expressing.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, no, I'm just
Some
wondering.
ideas where
Right.
people are at.
I mean,
Um,
I think that, the environmental impacts of the salt are important and important to the river and, we have that chart later today of showing January and February, how much salt there is going into the river. I mean, it would be an educational thing for sure,
Mhm.
but, I mean, I don't know. I mean, people should be driving slow in wintertime anyhow. I would be willing to consider it, yeah.
We're 1.5 square miles, so it would be something I'd be willing to consider as help as well, because most people who drive aren't just driving, well, I don't know, maybe, and that's a different issue that we have. And then also we were looking at the bare pavement option for the sidewalks as well, right?
Hmm.
That's, we, yeah.
Is that what that is, that?
Residential.
Oh, you mean the
snow
sidewalks?
All
snow
including the whole, this discussion that we're having regarding snow removal and whether or not it's business responsibility
Oh, yes,
or, yeah, so anyway, I
Isn't
mean,
the
it
sidewalk-
comprehends that it's not just streets, is that right? That we
I
are
thought it was
going-
the greenway between the road and the
I'm not
sidewalk.
Well, no,
Oh,
the
yeah,
sidewalks
we-
is everybody's
We
property
already
owner's
do that.
responsibility.
Right, but I mean, as far as the bare pavement,
No, as it was listed in your materials, bare pavement applies only to streets and
only
entrances.
the streets,
Yeah.
okay, is that an option to look at? For
Well, we don't
sidewalks?
salt the sidewalks,
No.
so it
Right.
would be no cost savings.
Okay, but.
I mean, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. We salt village walks, so walks adjacent to village properties. But I think generally speaking, that is far more of a liability issue
Mhm.
than reducing salt application to roads.
Okay.
Yeah,
Unless anyone has more questions about
well,
salt.
I wanted to throw out,
No, I have another one.
the residential lighting, like getting rid of lighting, I don't know, I'm not in favor of that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
it goes against our.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves out as a walkable community.
Walk during the daylight.
In the winter, that's.
The coyotes love it.
Do we
Should
have
we just
streets though
approve
that we don't
LED
light at
lighting,
night?
so I
Right.
don't know.
Oh, I don't see.
We have, so
Don't
we
get
can,
LED
let's look at the ones that we definitely,
Yeah, that's a
definitely
good
can
idea.
throw off.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just have two I wanna keep on there. I had asked Leanne about the vacancies. Just, I don't, it's probably really simple, but just what do we contract out and what do we do with our own staff? I know contract management is also some.
I think we got an email about that.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
No, no,
We
no,
were at a
no.
different meeting.
Leanne had sent it to me at around 3:30, and we've been having some delays in email.
Yeah.
And so,
I
Okay.
just saw it right before the meeting.
yeah,
So I didn't
so
have time
when
to
I saw it
adjust.
come in with 7 other ones, at the same time, I sent it out to you guys, so we'll
We
keep
can
that.
address it
I
during
would
the
say maybe we could come back to it during
Yeah.
the department.
Yeah.
we should, yeah.
And the
we should.
vacuum leaf, I do have a question about that. So, when I look at the cost comparisons in those little brochures we used to make, vacuuming leaves was, the same cost for 3 months as recycling for the whole year, if not more. So how does eliminating it only get us 10,000?
Because eliminating the task of vacuuming leaves doesn't eliminate the staff. So that staff would just be doing something different during that time.
Okay, that's what, maybe when I see the list of what staff does, I get a better understanding, cause that's, we hear that
Yeah, but we vac leaves 10 weeks out of the year.
I know,
So if you eliminate leaf vacuuming.
you've gotta eliminate something else, I understand, we went through this on garbage, I just don't know what it is.
I
So,
thought-
but
wasn't
there is a,
leaf vacuuming a contract?
there is a, you always factor
No.
in when we did our garbage, when you eliminate something, you also have a equipment cost that, maybe it doesn't affect operating, but when we did our garbage contract, there was more than just,
Well, you're exactly correct,
Thank
it's
you.
not an operating item, but there's obviously some equipment implications if that were to be a permanent decision.
and then there's a revenue, because if we eliminate vacuuming, then we could charge for bags. I'm just saying, there's more to it, I feel, than $10,000.
So that does get back to charging the taxpayers.
It could.
And there are soft costs
But-
too.
And it also decreases, it reduces the incentive of removing your leaves, which then mean more leaves like in those storm sewers and that.
Yes, but environmentally it might help. And I do remember it in the garbage, I mean, Leanne said this is something she would recommend. I don't wanna speak for you, but this is a time-consuming, we can talk about during the department, I just,
Yeah.
it's a whole list.
And it is something that we're reviewing as part of our team Dale stormwater management plan, because the bagging of leaves is generally considered a best management
Oh,
practice.
I had no idea. So, then, yeah,
Actually,
could,
mowing the leaves
And maybe a
is
good
better
option
management
for
practice.
conservation to look at when they also evaluate waste.
But I mean, I just like to get to the real cost.
And we should factor in the cost of bags for the residents. I mean, you can go through a lot of bags.
Right,
That
what if
adds
you pays
up.
$4 a bag?
Residents may wanna pay, levy, what it pay in
Mhm.
bags.
Right?
I think we may need to talk about eliminating the leaf vacuuming, we've done, if we, for example, don't have snow removal from the business district, I mean, we've talked about a number of things that have reduced workload. And, if we continue to do those, then I think we do have to talk about reduced workload and reduced, staffing. So, The snow patrol, is that, the contract that we have for people who don't shovel?
Yes. Green team.
But there's nothing in the budget line for charges in 2019 for snow charges. It wasn't in 2018 either, and so I'm just wondering, we're doing this service, did we stop charging people?
No, it's a cost recovery, so whatever we budget for expenses, we budget for revenue. So we assume everybody's gonna be compliant, there'll be no charges,
But is it
therefore there'll be
covering-
no expenses. And I know that's.
It's okay, I just
It's a
wonder
little
if it's-
funny that I say it that way, but whatever the expenses are, which is charged back, it's a zero budget impact.
But in 16 and 17, it was in the budget, you saw the revenue that we got from those charges?
The actuals.
So, but it doesn't show up in the projected for 2008, so I'm just wondering, because it's an elimination of an $1,800 expense, would we also then, are we losing more revenue? So if it's only 1,800 for the expense, and it
Well,
was,
the
I think it was
1,800's in the
3,000.
budget.
Is there
As
an
an
offset,
expense,
is there an
but-
offsetting
Administrative
revenue?
costs?
Is there an offsetting revenue to that $1,800?
Yeah.
Yes, there is now,
And what
because you
is it?
approved a administrative charge for Lincoln property maintenance and a fee
Mhm.
schedule. Otherwise,
Well, you-
no, we were eating that cost.
No, but we still gave them tickets.
This is the administrative
Right, but then
charge
there was
for
the-
the
right.
time to do all this.
No,
But
this
that
is
went-
just the administrative
that went to
patrol,
the
not the
police,
time for
not
actual
to pay for
snow.
the
Okay.
contract.
That's kind of what I understood.
I don't understand though, because in 17, and I'm sorry, but in 17 or 16, they say it was, I think it was 3,000 something, was the revenue that was shown, we collected.
Actuals, not budget, but I always show actuals.
Right,
Budgets are zero.
I understand that, so maybe I'm just asking for the actual, so I understand if we eliminated that service, which would lower the level of service, would we also be, we are collecting a fee and it was double that what we were spending, or at least what it was, the cost, this 1,800, it was double that.
No,
Right, so, is your point?
no,
is-
there's additional costs above and, I'm sorry, there's
No, not
additional
at all.
costs above and beyond the 1,800. This is just for them to patrol. The charges for snow removal are extra fees above and beyond the 1,800.
So they
And
don't
those
cover at
are-
all any of that
Those were the
contract line?
offsetting ones.
Okay, so the contract, because it's contracted out? I
And this
see.
is one of the reasons, again, staff recommended the administrative fee, is because there are some costs to just patrolling.
I didn't realize that when we had that discussion. I heard it was more of the paper processing. I did not realize that we were paying a contractor to patrol and not covering that through our fines, meaning our ticket.
Well, that's been corrected now, so.
But
Yeah.
where does the ticket go then? 33,500? It goes to the
Is it a police
service?
ticket?
We
That's
could,
like-
potentially I could show that when we get into the DPW budget, it'd be a little easier to
No,
point
don't,
out.
yeah, cause trustee
Yeah.
meant to ask